Oh, yeah. Those are so dirty. I see you. I see you with the spiders.
He's gonna be wearing half the foliage.
No Spider-Man. He's making Spider-Man now. You stay clean, Connor. I see your face.
Yeah. And down goes the
Landscaping.
right one. Tree Mom. Want to know?
No, you're on Facebook.
Facebook's garbage. Yeah. They redid their format and it is absolutely
I don't like
trash.
it either. Yeah, I don't like it either.
I want to go find the.
So run around, please.
You're gonna stay with me, buddy.
Like you can have a lightning fast internet and it doesn't matter.
Is it going?
It was, and then the internet cut out, and then YouTube didn't reconnect it. So everyone's like, yeah, it's like frozen right now.
Your black Did you take it out of the backpack? So it's on the floor.
I'm gonna go for it.
You've been working on this stuff.
You ready?
I don't know. Is everyone here?
Yeah.
I'm
If you're
here.
not here, say something. Okay, we're ready.
Anthony, if you're sitting in that
Ashley,
chair,
you
can
know
you
if
scoot
anybody's
that way a
supposed to be
little
here,
bit?
not here?
I'm here.
Am I allowed to be on my
That's right.
phone?
Oh no.
What?
Can I take pictures on my
Anybody
phone?
supposed
or
to be
you
here,
can
not
have
here? I like your
Who's
Angus.
sitting there?
Mom.
Mom?
We're good?
She's, you know her. She's with Liz.
David, is that chair on the shot?
That is in the shot, yes.
Charlie, can you move it on the other side to your right?
Done.
We'll have to dial you up a video today.
Yes, that's.
You ready? All right.
Everyone except Alyssa.
Devin, are there any questions?
Everybody except Alyssa here.
I don't think so. I just moved the windows, but I didn't touch anything else.
Okay.
So
Are you gonna come sit over here?
Yeah, click on that one
Mister?
and close that.
You can whenever you want to.
Okay, close this. We're still
so I'm just gonna leave that. Is that fine?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, good chair.
Wait. Wait, what are you doing? Otherwise, the back of your head. You're pretty hard making it. The candles literally melted on the table. You can't write them. Like the wax. No, but I don't think there's water. Oh. I thought it was like, damn, it got so hot out here and melted. Yeah. I was like,
I was trying to figure it out.
Nani?
I'm tired.
Nani? Where is she?
Over there.
My pumpkin's over there. Next to the tiny one.
Open mouth.
That's over there. The tiny pumpkin.
I think it's on you.
The one that was scared. Both scared of the
Oh, I get it.
Here we go. Are you so high? Actually, Jose's house right next to mine. It's looking over there.
They have to start over.
That was grandma. It's a cat.
My mom says the kid.
Yeah.
Well, no, I found like
No.
I don't think you should probably.
I think the only time I myself when I was
Maybe after.
you just drew on it. You're gonna draw on it.
Why?
You cut the pumpkin.
Oh.
But maybe the cat would eat them. Probably both. The celery, so they can.
Well, my
All right, it'll just be a minute.
my dad just married them. My mom's doing this because it really hurts. Okay, ready, say cheese. Cheese. Baby, correct cheese.
She can't see.
Not that first.
Ben has like.
Okay.
Oh, maybe.
I'll put your dog in my room.
Wait. You have to wait till you. The bakery stop. All righty, we ready?
Yes.
That was pretty weak. So, this wedding was going to be over 200 people. And because of COVID, we're, right, family, right? Right?
Right.
So, we got to make some noise for these guys, all right? If you pick 200 people, 210 people divided by 30, 35, you got to make the noise of about 7 people, all right? So when it comes time to cheer them on, let's be loud. The neighbors aren't going to complain too much, okay? So, how we doing? Yeah! So, I got 5 children, and being the father of 5, I thought that, someday I attend at least 1 or 2 of my kids get married. This is the second wedding I've been to, and the second time I've been right here instead of over there. So it's pretty awesome, actually. I'm probably as nervous as they are, but it's awesome. All right. I write things down because otherwise I'd vapor lock in about 10 more seconds. All right, cell phones. Let's make sure our cell phones are turned off or turned down so we don't get any phone ringing in the middle of this. And our last public announcement is after so everybody understands what's going on today. We'll have the ceremony, then we'll take family photos here. We'll step through those, and then Michael and Alyssa will be leaving for a few minutes to go take photos. While they're doing that, we have COVID-free appetizers and drinks for everybody. And then we'll have that. When Michael and Alyssa get back at about 6 o'clock, they'll have a dance, and then we'll have dinner at 6:30. All right? Hot dogs and beans.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, no, we'll have a little bit more than that. All right? So are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Start some music.
Tell me what you thought about when you were gone and so.
Could we please rise for the bride? Okay. On behalf of Michael and Alyssa, I would like to thank you all for being here today. This COVID thing has really affected us all, and we know many of us are outside our comfort zone to be here today. We wish we were in Santa Margarita with an additional 170 of our friends and family having the wedding we all thought and we had originally planned. We also want to welcome all the folks from around the country that are watching on Facebook. Thanks for checking in with us. And at this time, Alyssa and Michael would like to honor those loved ones that are no longer with us with a moment of silence. Thank you. And I'm already screening. All right, Michael was born. Michael Stewart Keligikuni Apuni Neil. Oh, you can sit down. We'll start. Here we go. Michael was born Michael Stewart Keligikuni Apuni Neil. We all called him Keli'i. Since he was only Keli'i around, most folks assume when reading his name, instead of Keli'i, it was Kelli, not Keilii. And they would call him Kelly or some version of that. So I think in an effort to not have to repeat his name 20 or 30 times to everybody who ever tried to read his name, he decided it was much easier to go by Michael. But then there's Turtle. Michael and his brother Glenn were huge fans of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when they first came out. You know, Leonardo, Donatello, not to worry, your turtle is here. And he's been Turtle ever since. Michael has always seemed to follow his own path. This into elementary school. He attended St. Patrick's Elementary School in Arroyo Grande, and as part of his curriculum, he made his first communion with his second grade class. So he needed a suit for communion. We took him to get fitted for a suit. He decided he wanted a white suit. For obvious reasons, we tried to dissuade an 8-year-old from getting a white suit. He persisted. He got his white suit. On the day of the first communion, we arrived at the church. It turns out he is the only one of 20 boys or so that is wearing a white suit. All the rest are wearing black suits. So naturally, the other 20 boys point out the fact that they are in black suits and Michael is different wearing the white suit. And they keep at it. But Michael's feelings aren't hurt. He's completely unfazed. In fact, he embraces the fact that he is different. He stands out amongst the crowd. His attitude is, that's right, I am the only one in a white suit. He's not just a sheep in the flock. They quickly determined that he is impervious to their teasing. They stopped the teasing, and then they let him know he was not going to follow the herd. He was not afraid of cutting his own path. As parents, it was comforting to know that he easily handled peer pressure. One day, when Michael and Alyssa had been together perhaps a year or so, Michael excitedly tells us he's going down south to visit Alyssa and her family. He tells us her dad, Lee, is going to take him to a gun range. It would be the first time he would ever get to shoot a gun. He is really excited. He wants to do this. I stop, I look at my wife, then I look back at Michael, and I say, so let me get this straight. You're going to go meet the father of your girlfriend, who you hardly even know. He invites you to go shooting. You're excited about going shooting with him. Did he say exactly what he planned to be shooting? At which point I said, it's been nice knowing you, kid, and we both gave him a hug. Sometime later in the relationship, Michael is now at San Diego State working on his master's degree, and Lee invites Michael to a Red Sox Angels game. Michael makes the drive up. They head to the game. It starts raining. The game is delayed and then finally postponed. It was the first time the Angels were postponed in nearly 20 years. Luckily, Lee invited him shooting before Turtle got the game canceled. Michael is very family-oriented and has shown great respect for his elders. When his grandfather Charles was ill, he made sure to spend time with his grandparents in Hawaii. When Grandpa Mickey became ill, he came home often. And after the passing of his Grandpa Mickey, he moved back to Nipomo into his grandmother's house to help her where he could. He has shown great respect for his elders. One day after his grandma passed, we were doing some cleanup at the house, and we found the original newspaper clipping of Grandma Diane and Grandpa Mickey's wedding announcement from July of 1960. You know, the ones they used to put in the thing called a newspaper? They would make an article in the paper describing the wedding, the participants, where they were from, the date, time, location, all of the wedding. So months after finding the article, Michael called and asked if we still had it. He wanted to know the name of the church his grandparents were married in. So I found the article and told him St. Sebastian's Catholic Church in Santa Monica. I never really thought to ask him why he wanted to know. I was just thinking that since he lived not far from the church, he was going to drive by it just to see it sometime, maybe. But knowing how Michael feels about family and the respect he has for those that came before him, it was no surprise when we found out he proposed to Alyssa on the steps of St. Sebastian's in Santa Monica, the same church that Grandma Diane and Grandpa Mickey were married in 58 years earlier. And it is also rather fitting that we're standing under this avocado tree today. It's a Mexicola Grande avocado tree. It appears just to be an avocado tree, but this tree has meaning to our family. It was given to us by my grandparents, Warren and Sidney Neal, Michael's great-grandparents. It was a housewarming gift nearly 25 years ago. This tree was planted here when there was nothing back here but weeds and sand. And it was the only thing other than weeds and sand that were back here for a long time. Warren and Sidney, or rather known as Grammy and Pappy, were married for 70 years. So he proposes on the steps of a church that sealed a 58-year marriage and now stands under a tree given to our family by a product of a 70-year marriage. Dude, you got your work cut out. So I'm guessing Alyssa was a little confused at first. He introduced himself as Michael, and his friends called him Michael. Then when his siblings, Kanani, Kamali, and Jules, spent sibling week in Monterey Bay with him, she hears him called Turtle. And finally, when he was with a family, she hears him called Kilihi. She was with a man of three names. It appears, though, that there is an animal theme in this story, as we have a turtle, and I have it on very good authority, there was a piglet involved in someone's younger days. Alyssa seems to have had a thing for Piglet of Winnie the Pooh fame when she was very young. To get to that story, we must venture all the way back to Alyssa's second birthday. For her second birthday, she told her mother she wanted a piglet party. Today, this would be rather easy to have a piglet party, right? Because you have the all-encompassing Google. You sit down at Amazon, you punch in piglet party, you order a bunch of stuff. The ice cream truck. Keep an eye on Rocky. So mom searches high and low for something that would lend themselves to a piglet party, because she doesn't have Amazon search because it doesn't exist yet. So her mother endeavors to fulfill Alyssa's wish for a piglet party. Now in today's world, like I said, it would be really easy. 2 days later, you'd have piglet party stuff at your front door. Didn't work that way. Mom has her work cut out for her. She searches high and low for items that would lend themselves to a Piglet party. A Winnie the Pooh party would have been a walk in the park, but a Piglet party, totally different story. Eventually, Mom finds a pillow with a piglet on it. A Piglet pillow. Turns out, though, Alyssa's definition of a Piglet party, she just wanted a dress with a piglet on it. Alyssa, simple, exact, and without much fanfare. Much like Piglet, Alyssa was very small in stature as a 2-year-old. Alyssa and Piglet, quiet, sweet, somewhat timid, but fully capable of just about anything, and they have big hearts. Though she is soft-spoken, she has a hidden courage, is good-tempered, independent, organized, loving, and her friends and family think very, very highly of her. Sweet little Alyssa is now about 11 years old and quite the softball player. Her team's losing by 3 runs. Alyssa steps to the plate, hits a monster shot to the outfield. 1 run scores. 2 runs scored. Alyssa's coming into third base, and her dad, who just happens to be the third base coach, sends her home to tie the game. Alyssa slides. The catcher snags the ball and spins to tag her. The tag nails Alyssa right under the chin and knocks her out. She's completely unconscious for a few seconds. Naturally, the coaches in a panic all run out, including her dad, run out to her, help her up off the ground. She's dizzy, but of course she claims she's okay. They know, obviously, Dad looks at her. It's obvious she's quite groggy. And then Coach Dad helps her to the dugout, sits her down. He's questioning her to see exactly how she is, trying to assess her condition. She responds with a question herself. Was I safe? Coach Dad sadly replies, no. She exhales and says, shit. But loud enough for Coach Dad to hear. She knows he heard. She shyly turns to him for her scolding. But what can he do but just smile and laugh? Alyssa, focused and willing to do what it takes, the most pleasant and unassuming non-A-type personality you will ever meet. So I want to take a second and tell you about the first time we met Alyssa. Turtle calls and tells us he's coming home for the weekend. He's bringing his girlfriend Alyssa. Okay, good. We're finally going to meet her. So Friday night comes and we know they'll be late. So Lisa May and I go to bed. Our dog Nova announces their arrival sometime after midnight. Barking dog startles us awake. Michael and Alyssa come in. Turns out Alyssa isn't big on hugging folks she doesn't really know, or in this case, know it all. However, she walked into a Hawaiian household, and we both give her hugs. Lisa May steps back, groggily says, excuse me, dear, what was your name? And as Alyssa recovers from the unsolicited hug, she looks at us, and we hear the reply, Alyssa. And I'm glad that Lisa May asked that question because I didn't know the answer to it either. I was too asleep to remember. And then we sleepily staggered back off to bed. Little did we know a few years later they would be Friday night buddies. Friday nights after Turtle and I would go to soccer practice and would return, they would be drinking wine or Kahlua rum, eating Giuseppe's 4 cheese and potato pizza and watching Grimm. And we would get shushed for making too much noise when we came into the house. But by far the best part was the tray of awesomely good lemon bars in the kitchen waiting to be devoured, courtesy of Alyssa. And if you haven't had a lemon bar this lady has made, you are missing out. These two have chased their dreams from one college or job to the next, from Monterey Bay to San Diego to Dominguez Hills to Lisa Miguel to Nipomo, and finally to apartment number 16 at 4757 West Lawson Avenue in Los Angeles over a period of 9 years. They have supported each other whether they were able to be together or whether they were apart, whether they were in the same school or different schools, same city or different city. They have encouraged each other to follow their individual paths together. In this world of instant gratification, they have stayed the course and never lost sight of their end goals for each other and together. And I personally think it's amazing stuff from two amazing people. Now, we're at the point in the ceremony where I'm supposed to tell you the story of Michael and Alyssa. But first, I must let you know that when my children were little and I read to them, we mostly read Dr. Seuss. He was our go-to author. Well, at least he was my go-to author. And I was doing the reading. So here is the story of Michael and Alyssa in the style of Dr. Seuss. But I need a drink first. Oh. All right. Michael and Alyssa. Our story begins with a handsome young man. Yes, this is him, right here where we stand. He was born Michael Stewart. Kunia Puni Neal. Try spelling that. It will make your head reel. He is our handsome young man, a man of three names. To some, they are different. To us, they're the same. He is Keli Itu family, as you may know. To most, he is Michael, but Turtle also. This handsome young man with his future at hand was starting to start planning his plan. To travel to school or stay here at home, a big school, a small school, or just travel in Rome. Big school, small school, state school, private school, so many choices when you're still in high school. So what do you do when you're planning your future? You want it to be seamless, not to held together by suture. And then he remembered an elder is near, so he turned to his grandpa for some sage old advice on what he should do with this choice in his life. Big schools are good, and some are real nice, but small schools care about you and your life. You'll meet many people wherever you go, and maybe your wife, if you're lucky, you know. A decision's to be made that takes more than one night. With this thought and that thought on what he should do, he thunk and he thought, then he thought some more too. The final decision was finally final. He made up his mind on his college stay. He will travel north to Monterey Bay. But hold on there, just wait a minute. What would life be without a beautiful girl in it? And wouldn't you know, it's as easy as that. We need our Alyssa, so let's have a chat. Let's start at the ending. It's the beginning, you'll see. It was the end of high school. She was about to be free. Her last days at Aliso Niguel went by in a flurry, because when you're that age, it's always a hurry. And then it was done, yes, over and done. But she was ready for more. She was ready for fun. To follow her dream would take a new team. To college, to be all she could be. The decision was looming. Where would she flee? Stay local to Mingus Hills? Well, that's a good place to study, but the weather is hot and the air can be ugly. Or travel upstate to Monterey Bay? It's some distance, but not too far away. CSUDH or CSUMB? Decision. She'll make one quite soon. Decision before the new moon. Stay local at Toro with traffic and smog, or travel some distance to the beach and the fog. Now, isn't it swell? Now, isn't it right? A decision's to be made that takes more than one night. With this thought and that thought on what she should do, she thunk and she thought, and her parents did too. Stay local at Toro with traffic and smog, or travel some distance to the beach and the fog. Then one beautiful day, the final decision was finally final. She's made up her mind. This decision was vital. They love her, their daughter, the Monterey Otter. So this daughter, the Monterey Otter, arrives at the school. She likes her surroundings. She thinks it's real cool. Now, the third person she met stands before you and me, our man of three names. It's easy to see. He has liked this new school. His life's been real cool. He enjoyed his first year, and then it was two. But the fourth was the best, because he met you know who. But like all good things, you'll just have to wait. It was nearly a year before their first date. 8/20/11, a long time ago. But when you look back, where did the time go? Now, in every relationship, it's not all sugar and spice. She was an Anaheim angel. To him, not so nice. For he likes socks the color of red, but he can't get her laughter out of his head. Hey, it's okay, because the angels are red. and her wonderful laughter stayed stuck in his head. And what do? You poor college students? You listen to music and watch lots of film. Hey, this is fun. He likes to watch Grimm. And then you get hungry, there's a Cedro's taco shop. It isn't too far, just a short hop. You just gotta love the carne asada fries, because when they eat them, he stares in her eyes. But they never forget. They never lose sight. They're at college for a reason, to chase down their dreams regardless of season. Here at Monterey Bay, in the wind and the fog, some days go by quickly. Some days are a slog. But to follow their dreams was an alphabet soup. They traveled from home to CSUMB to live a collegian's life right by the sea. But somehow he knew that the B of A was only the start, and Monterey Bay he would have to depart. Then to SDSU and Aztec to be, where he piled on a master's degree. And the girl with the laughter that had stolen his heart knew that to get her BFS, they would need to part. Then to CSUDH, a Toro finally, yep, you're right, for her master's degree. They think of their future, of their life together, because 1 + 1 makes it all that much richer. But if you have to be apart and don't let your love wither, you can survive any storm, regardless of weather. The years have flown by, and as they look back, they have done what they need to. Their lives are on track. But the ups and the downs life usually holds continues to make their love bolder than bold. Then finally one day, 12/14/18, a Friday it be, this man of 3 names goes to one knee. There on the steps of St. Sebastian's Church, while on that knee in his pocket he'll search. He produces a ring, just like the movies you see. He utters 4 words, which he says with such glee. She stares back at him, this man on his knee. She starts to speak, but never said less. She needs only 1 word, and the answer is yes. Yes, 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 yes. The 3-letter word is his favorite, you'd guess. So, on this 31st day of the 10th month today, here we now stand with these 2 holding hands. On this beautiful evening, oft filled with fright, there are some things that even COVID can't spite. From the security of their homes, they knew they needed to roam, to the wind and the fog, to the traffic and smog, to the stairs of a church, to the shade of this tree. It was just the way it was always meant to be. After years of school and a pile of degrees, we're standing right here for our families to see. Yes, between these here 2, there are a pile of degrees. The pile of degrees, though they do really matter. One you get today, put your dreams on a platter. Right now you're earning here under this tree, it changes 2 to a 1 with your MR and MRS degree. Now the part y'all been waiting for. Alyssa, you ready with your props?
Michael, we have been through 9 years of ups and downs together, and I still haven't gotten tired of you. From 6 years of long distance to me crying on our first night when we finally moved in together. And right now. I have always felt complete when you're by my side. You make me smile when I'm sad, laugh when I'm angry, and happy when I'm down on the world. As your wife, I promise to always love you. I promise to continue tapping your shoulder as I walk by you on your computer, just to remind you that I love you. You know me all too well, so I promise not to hide things from you, except when I try to surprise you on occasion. And I do promise not always ruin the surprise for you, just because I get too excited. I will always support you in all your crazy endeavors, even when I roll my eyes at that. I am beyond excited for our life together, and if we stand together, we are a force that can shake the whole world. I said I'd never let you go, and I never will. Your mom's family calls you Kaylee, your dad's family calls you Turtle, and your friends call you Michael, but only I can call you Michael.
So I don't remember when I heard this, but it's stuck with me ever since. This person said, you know you're ready to spend your life with someone you've been with them through 3 life events. When you're poor, sick, and grieving. Not necessarily all together. You stuck by me when I made the choice to move to LA while I'm unemployed so I could start chasing my dreams of working in film and television. Even when that included me flying to Belize for a day to pick up a package from a crew coming in on a private jet from Honduras. When I had surgery on my ear, you took care of me. Although giving someone a knife and a jar of peanut butter may not have been the best way to do that. Especially when they're coming down from anesthesia. Over the last 9 years, you've stood by me as I grieved the loss of loved ones. I know there were times that were especially hard for the both of us, and I thank you for always being there. We haven't had the most typical relationship, most of it spent on 2 separate beds writing phone lines. When we had time to be together, we always made it a day to remember. Like the time I tricked you to fly to San Diego so that you could feed a tiger. I know you may not like surprises, but some of my favorite memories were surprises. When you agreed to go out with me, the time you gave me a surprise treasure hunt for my birthday, the first time we said I love you, when I surprised you with the 2-pound chocolate bunny for Easter, or when we met Lori Petty on our flight home from a wedding. I promise I will keep the surprises coming. I promise to give you the best of me, to be the person you deserve and the person you need. To order extra fries even though you're not hungry. To make you feel like it's spooky, scary season year-round. When you need a hand, I'll give you one, unless it's a prosthetic, because that's more of your thing. For everything else you need, if it means a lot to you, just ask. My response will always be as you wish.
Awesome. So before we seal this deal, I'd like to leave you two with a couple of thoughts. Happiness in marriage doesn't just happen. It takes love, effort, and understanding. Do things for each other just because. Be thoughtful and appreciative of each other. Have the ability to forgive. Be flexible, patient, and always keep your sense of humor. You will never be too old to hold hands. Never. Don't sweat the small stuff, because if you stay together, it's all small stuff. Remember to say, I love you. Those words never get old. Never. And finally, remember often her first smile, his first smile, the first laughter, the first time you held hands, the first time that you just knew. Okay, please hold hands and face each other. Michael, do you promise to stand beside Alyssa in the good times so you can enjoy them together? Run to her in the hard times so you can lighten the burden? And love her with all your heart as long as you live?
I do.
Alyssa, do you promise to stand beside Michael in the good times so you can enjoy them together? Run to him in the hard times so you can lighten the burden? And love him with all your heart as long as you live?
I do.
Blaine? Go ahead. Go down. Awesome. Now, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the ULC and the laws of the state of California, I pronounce you married. Kiss your spouse. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, here and on Facebook Live, it is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you, for the first time anywhere on planet Earth, Mr. and Mrs. Michael and Alyssa Neal. All right, so for family, we have a list somebody made up a list of an order of taking pictures so that and it's got all different combinations of everybody so
I
that
don't
we
know what
can
happened.
step through them and get them all taken. So
Papers taped right there.
I don't know what happened to the music. It
we live. So if nobody go too far away.
playing on the computer, but
It's not on.
Okay.
that's why.
All right.
He didn't tell me that.
Get them closed.
I'm just curious.
The light usually comes on. Like there's like lights on it.
I'll put on this one.
I think we gotta check and see if we gotta.
Okay.
Get them closed.
So Lisa Mae, Miley.